This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by FanDuel. And, wow, hockey is kind of picking up as baseball is starting. March Madness is over. So let's talk a little hockey. Let's talk the Stanley Cup. And right now, the heavy favorite to win the Stanley Cup is the Colorado Avalanche. Is it 1996? Jeez, it feels like it's 1996 because that's when Colorado Avalanche were at the top of their game then. Well, they are the favorite to win this year, and it's plus 310. You can get them at right now on FanDuel.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
From Pebble Creek, Michigan, weighing 230 pounds,
Rob Van Dam. Boom. Hey,
Nailed it.
Tell me the story again. How did I lose the 5 pounds on my announcement?
So when I put Howard Finkel's voice through AI, AI changed it to 230 pounds because they couldn't hear Howard clearly.
Oh, okay.
So, dang it, Howard. I'm sorry. Howard.
It just sounds weird just because I've heard like 235 pounds for the 98% of the time over the last 30 years. So.
Did you prefer, was that your actual weight, or were you a little bit more? Were you a little bit less?
No, I could be 5 pounds up or down of that, you know?
Yeah.
Weighed myself yesterday, I was like 241 at nighttime. When I weigh myself in the morning, like when I first get up, I'm probably 4 or 5 pounds lighter than I am at nighttime. And, but I fluctuate like within there. I never added a bunch of weight to my actual weight like a lot of people in the business tend to do because I didn't find it credible, you know, like you heard Brian Cage say
right
last week. He said he thought that I was a small guy because of my style or whatever, and then when he met me, in his words, he's ginormous. But a lot of people are surprised that that's my real weight, because you know it's a business where there's a lot of 185 pounders that say they're 215 just so they can sound bigger, and that's part of the gimmick. But with me, I never added weight because I always figured enough people thought that my shoot weight was bullshit. You know, early on, when I cared more and haven't heard everything 1,000 times, I remember defending that, like in USWA when I was just like 20 years old. I remember at that time, I think the weight was 205 or something. And this one dude, I remember at the arena, I was like, "You are not 205. I was like, "I swear to God. I swear, yes, I am. That's my actual weight. You are not." I just weighed myself. Oh, man, I wish we had a scale right here. I could prove it. Like, I cared so much. You know what I mean? And this guy was like, "You're like a $185. You're my size. You ain't no," you know. And then after a while, you learn, like, just whatever. Just nod and let people say whatever they want, you know. But being legit 235, 240, what am I going to do? Say I'm 260? The 260, 265 pound guys are the guys that are fucking, fucking another level. So anyway, they find out when they pick me up, though.
They sure do. Let me ask you this, Rob. When you were like, you know, back in the 90s and stuff like that, when dudes were bigger overall, like everybody, were you considered small by your colleagues, or were you still considered like
fuck
size?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, the standard has changed so much, you know. So I remember trying to hit that 200-pound mark, and it meant so much to me because I was using that as a standard, you know, thinking like, man, 190 pounds is like, you know, it's all right, it's something, but it ain't like people use that like, man, this dude's 6 foot, 200 pounds of muscle, you know, like that's a standard people use. Just like now they use like, he's beating up a 55-year-old man. What the fuck? Like that's just one of those standards that people are used to using and shit. So yeah, when I got in, and then like that summer of 2000, or I'm sorry, let's make that 1990 and 91, 91 when I was in USWA. Like, yeah, I remember how important that was, and had a complex about it. It took a long time to shake that, but a lot of guys never do shake it. It's like an inside joke, like in the dressing room. You see one of the guys, he just say, "You've been losing weight," and just huh, and and if you're someone that likes ribbing with someone, then you just let it fuck with their head and don't even joking, and watch how much that fucks with them and ruins their day. Hey,
I wanted to ask you.
What's going on? You ain't been working out? You was sick, or okay?
Yeah. You look a little thin. Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah, but
So-
you're susceptible and vulnerable to that shit when you're young. After that, there's no excuse to get smarten up to it.
When you see wrestlers nowadays, and they're obviously like a lot more smaller than you, a good amount of them are. Was that kind of a big adjustment for you in certain ways to kind of work with guys that were smaller in stature than you? And did you get more accustomed to it, I guess, in a different, from how the business changed?
As long as I can remember that I've been in the business, there was always other guys that were either my weight or even lighter. I started wrestling in All Japan in '93. And they had the junior heavyweight division. All the young boys, there was a bunch of guys there. Shiga, oh my God, what was Shiga, like 160, 165 pounds? I can't imagine. Can't imagine he weighed more than that. He was so skinny but so ripped. Maybe 100. I don't know. Maybe I'll give him 175 pounds. I think that's what Little Guido said he weighed. ECW, of course, is Little Guido and Spike.
Sure.
And back to All Japan, Asako, me and Akiyama were about the same size back in the day. There's just always, and I started out, with Dango, but we were definitely looked down upon by the big meatheads.
Yeah. Brian Cage mentioned last week too, and I thought this was really sound advice for wrestlers. Was that, hey, you can't control a whole lot in the wrestling business, but you can control how you look in a lot of ways and how you make your body. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Do you agree with him? And is there anything else that you would kind of add on to what Brian said about maybe certain things you can't control in wrestling for yourself?
Well, all you can do is stack the odds in your favor, in my opinion. And then a lot of shit is going to be out of your hands. In this business, there's always a baby face that the crowd thinks they know more than the office about why that guy should be pushed more than he is. I was in that position. Fans would be chanting RVD. Everyone had an RVD sign, but someone in the office, thought that they should, not go all the way with me. There's always a guy like that. Daniel Bryan was in that position as well. And there's, Kofi, wait, who is the guy that R-Truth, right? They let him go. I don't even know how much. Don't even know what's true out of that. But and then the fans were like, no, fuck no, hire him back, and I hired him back. And it's like, so there's always that feeling, but usually it's not a winning fight when the crowd thinks this guy should get pushed more than he is, and it's not a bad position to be in. It's not as good a position to be in as someone that's getting pushed really, really hard by the office. You know what I mean? But a lot of it's politics. And is there something you can do about it? Well, yeah. I mean, you can learn to play those games.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
There's always something else you can do to put the odds more in your favor, but there just is no guarantees. There's no guarantees. There's no system that equalizes everybody's position, which, again, in my opinion, I don't think there should be. That's why I've always been confused about the union conversation, because I feel like it evens out a lot of the playing field, which, hey, maybe that is better for everybody, but it's hard for me in the entertainment business to look at the talent subjectively and say, well, this guy's worth this much. This guy over here, he's worth about the same. This guy, not quite there. He's a little less. He should be on a scale down. It's hard to do that. You know, I mean, it really depends on your popularity, your marketability, who's buying tickets to come and see you, who in the future, if they do things right with you, can they get into that position where people will be buying tickets to see you, and who do they want to invest in for the future and take a chance with? So no matter what you do to put the as many odds as you can in your favor, there's still a lot that you just got to throw your hands up and say, well, I did all I could and it wasn't fair. It is that kind of business.
It definitely is. And that's the thing too. It's like, if you look at organized sports and like anything like that, a lot of it depends on how talented you are and what you can do on the field or the basketball court or the baseball field, you name it. But like in wrestling, it's up. You can present yourself in a certain manner and have that talent, but it really depends on like one or two people that make that final decision, you know, and how your story or career goes in the ring, quote unquote. So
and also when you're in that position and you know, you hear what you want to hear, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like nobody wants criticism if it's something bad against them, but they'll listen to the fans tell them they're being screwed over because they're the best in the company and the company needs them. That's who I want to listen to, you know what I mean? Like ignore and because of that, a lot of times some wrestlers will be missing something and they don't know it because they refuse to hear it. The fans that are on their side that are pumping their heads up don't know what they're missing because they're not in the business. But sometimes in the office there is something. It could be, hey, this big guy needs to wrestle more like a big guy and quit doing sunset flips. You know, we need to build him like he makes himself look smaller when he's doing that. It could be something else, but at the same time, they see that totally different. I'm showing everything I can do. Like they don't get it. They don't get me. It's easy to be in that position, but in the bigger picture, have the other part of that true as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I thought what was cool too last week with Brian is like he was talking about like how people were saying that he was kind of too generous in a lot of ways in the ring and gave a lot to his opponent and stuff like that. And he kind of acknowledged that was a bit of a flaw of his. And then I like too how you followed up. Are you planning to change that? You kind of asked him, is like, and he was like, oh, definitely. I'm definitely going to do that. And that was pretty cool, I thought, to see, because it's like, Brian is so talented. He's got just a great look about him. And like, it's just like he is. He's been very giving over the business. So it'll be neat to see him once he gets back in the ring and kind of change that kind of mentality for himself, I think.
Yeah. So and you know, the way the business is always changing right now with some of the moves that I always, you know, tell you I'm not a fan of, like the Canadian Destroyer. And Spanish Fly thing. It could be like, if there's someone like me in the office, it could be just the fact that the wrestlers do a specific move. If I'm in the office, I could be saying, well, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it if he still thinks he can just grab the guy and they both can jump at the same time. Like he's definitely, you know, his mind isn't there yet. It could be like something small like that. And they would refuse to hear that because they said, you hear the pop? It gets a pop every time. You're crazy, man. This is business. Well, no, it's not. It's killing the business. It's shit that doesn't work. And overall, if it's something that hurts the credibility of my show, and I'm sitting in the throne, the king's throne, it's my show, you know, it could be something small like that. Like, let me just wait till he gets it and he's committed and he realizes, that you don't turn it off and quit working to get a spot over and then turn it back on.
That's a great point too, because I mean that's something that a lot of wrestlers probably don't consider. They want to get their shit in, quote unquote, or whatever it may be. But like at the same time, you got to understand too who you're working for. What is that promoter or owner's kind of philosophy on wrestling, or how does he view things? So if you're like working for somebody like a Vince McMahon and he doesn't like a certain aspect of how wrestling goes down, you do something like that, you are going to get labeled as something, and when point in time comes for all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good point to make too.
It's what separates a lot of the garbage wrestlers from ever being in a top company, unless the business changes so much that the top company's standards fall that low. Otherwise, I see so many shows with it looks like 4 people in the crowd, and there's 2 wrestlers, and they just find like the highest thing they can, and they both stand there next to each other, and they like maybe they grab each other, and then they both look, and then they both jump, and then go through light bulbs and a pile of shit or whatever, and it's like, where was the move? Who did what to who? You guys both, did like a suicide dive, like Lover's Leap. That's what that was. It was a lover's leap, and you guys should just go fuck each other.
Let's say hi to some folks in the chat here. We got Matty Marijuana in the house. We got Scott's Hugs, new guy in town. Kit Kat 6969. Peyton Elvis in the house. Jem the Dawn. Triple E. Welcome everybody. Get your questions in if you have them for RVD. The super chat always helps, but I try to keep my eyes peeled for anything else as well. Neo RKS asked you this, RVD. Is RVD going to be featured in GTA 6? It's because we do the Grand Theft Auto thing. That'd be pretty sweet if you were in GTA, Rob.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. I had something going with the Tiny Green Man, I think it was called, the video game with the little army guys, where I was a downloadable character, and that was pretty cool because it had seemed like it had nothing to do with wrestling. It was just a really random kind of thing, but that was set up with my partners that ended up ripping me off with the CBD company, so it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah, wasn't in the grand scheme of it all worth it.
No.
Yeah. Really. I wanted to ask you this too. When you were younger, how were you at taking advice from older wrestlers at that time? Were you more receptive to it, or were you a little guarded too in your ways? Like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I kind of have my own, like, how I get.
I was probably guarded. Guarded, but Sheik told me, don't listen to anybody else but me. No one knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me a license to not listen to people, especially when I didn't want to hear what they had to say,
Sure.
Like when what they said just did not make sense to me. And, like when I was really young, I remember when I'd be working someone new, a veteran or whatever, and I'd be trying to say the moves that I do, like I do, I do this thing where I jump up and I spin around and I hit you with a kick and I do a backflip off the top rope, and I'm trying to do this stuff. And a lot of the attitude a lot of times would be like, just listen to me out there, kid. And that used to drive me nuts because I'm like, this guy doesn't know my moves. How's he going to be fucking calling my shit out there leading me when my whole deal is I want to be different. I don't want to be out there just doing the same arm drags and hip tosses that everyone else. For me, it was always about being different, having moves that were original that people hadn't seen. So I had that. Plus, yeah, I also had my ego telling me, this guy don't know what he's talking about, or he's wrong, or whatever. But usually, when it was Sheik or Sabu telling me stuff, I think it meant something, and because then. I believed them. They had the credibility, and they were the ones that were teaching me how to become the fine young man I would become.
Would you say relying on Sheik and Sabu gave you the confidence to kind of say stuff like that and defend what you were going to do in the ring, like with a veteran? Like if somebody said, would that give you the confidence to kind of push back at some of that stuff and be like, well, I have some moves that I want to do? Or would you kind of sometimes acquiesce and be like, all right, I'll take what you're doing or whatever? How would you handle that?
Probably a balance of both.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember lots of times being frustrated at the business and at pushback that I was getting that I thought was detrimental to me becoming the star and ascending the ranks, that I hoped to. And I thought, like, definitely if I listen to this guy my whole career, I ain't going to be shit. If I go out there every night and then just listen to the veteran or the heel or whatever, and nobody knows my moves, and because especially at that time you're working someone different every night because unless you're in a territory, you travel and hey, I got a show in Pittsburgh, I got a show in Wheeling, West Virginia, and you don't know who the fuck you're working. Maybe you've worked with them before, maybe not, especially your first year or two, not. You haven't worked anybody. And so yeah, I mean, I definitely was reluctant at times to even want to follow the path that they were following at all. It made me sometimes down about the business. And I remember this. I'll always remember this, but I know I've shared this with you before. But 21st birthday, I'm in Jamaica. First time that I smoked weed was on this trip, but also I was advertising. I was going to have this 2 matches. Maybe it was 3. I don't know. A few nights. We're at the Coney Island Amusement Park in Kingston, Jamaica. And anyway, I'm wrestling this. He's always going to be a prick to me because he's dead now, and he can't really fucking change that first impression I have of him.
Sure.
So fuck Mark Starr. But I do understand a little bit more about his thought process, just knowing the business. Still fuck him. Not something I would do to a young green kid ever. So fuck him. He was a dick. But anyway, we have a match, and I've been like on the news promoting and all excited and all this. And then I get to wrestle him, and something got fucked up at the very, very start. I don't know what it was. And so then he decided, I'm not going to take a chance with this kid. I'm going to teach him a lesson. And he picked me up and he power bombed me. And he picked me up and he power bombed me. And he picked me up a third time and he power bombed me. And he folded me over and did a shoot cover. 1, 2, 3. It was the quickest match of my career. And I was so bummed and so disappointed. And anyway, when I got back to the dressing room, him, Jimmy Backlund, another stooge hung out with them, Coconut Dude. They were all standing there, and Jimmy Backlund's like, who the fuck trained you? And I'm like, Sheik trained me. Well, he must not know what the fuck he's doing then. And I was so insulted by him saying that because I was like, you guys, I was too young and green to stand up to him and say this. But I'm thinking, you guys will never be the fucking original Sheik. That man's a legend. And I've had more people probably tell me I'm going to be world champion already, even though I've only wrestled for 3 years, than you jobbers have gotten in the last 15 years. So fuck off. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But if I go back in time, that would be the message I had for those guys.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing too, Rob. You're naming those guys, and maybe like some
They're
historians
all dead.
Yeah, you were naming them. Maybe some historians know who they are. I don't know who the fuck they are. I never heard of them.
No, Jimmy Backlund, Gigolo Jimmy Backlund, Jimmy Del Rey. He wrestles Jimmy Del Rey. So.
Oh, okay. I know Jimmy Del Rey.
To my point, they were not legends, and they were that part of the business. The boys. Let's rib them. Let's put drugs in his drink, and when he passes out, shave his eyebrows. They were that kind of assholes.
Oh man, yeah, and I mean, and that kind of goes to show you too why they didn't make it too far either in certain ways. If they had that kind of attitude, a lot of the times that doesn't benefit you.
I'm sure they made it in their minds.
Yep, right. Yeah. We have some super chats. Matty Marijuana leads us off with this one. He says, "Go fund me RVD to frog splash Pat McAfee at Mania." Have you seen all the Pat McAfee stuff going on recently, Rob?
I have not.
Okay. Well, what's been happening is they inserted Pat McAfee into the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes storyline, and they turned Pat McAfee heel. He's a heel now, and he's like he's on Randy Orton's side, and he's saying like, Randy Orton's gonna save the business, blah blah blah, and they're attacking Cody Rhodes. But what happened on top of it too is, I don't know if WWE leaked it. They're blending reality with a storyline, but TKO. Reportedly, Ari Emanuel, who owns TKO, he was the guy that wanted Pat McAfee in this mix because they wanted to rise up ticket sales for WrestleMania. They wanted to boost it up even more. And so Pat McAfee attacks Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. And then later on that night, the report is that WWE brass told Cody Rhodes to go out there and push back about what Pat McAfee said, because he mentioned that ticket sales were low on the show. And like, how is that going to help WrestleMania if you're saying ticket sales are low and stuff like that? How's it going to feel like a big deal? So Cody Rhodes cuts this shoot promo. Who knows if it's real or if they're all in cahoots and it's blurring of the lines, but it's creating a lot of news going on. I don't know if it's good news necessarily, but we're going to see it's creating a lot of conversation surrounding WrestleMania. So that's kind of what's going on.
Wow. And so Pat McAfee is booked at WrestleMania as the savior to help ratings. Pat McAfee.
Yeah, like in a roundabout way, because what's rumored too is Ari Emanuel, who owns TKO, he wants Pat McAfee to be the next Sylvester Stallone, like in action movies eventually, and doing all this kind of stuff and being like a big star. And he already is like a big star outside of wrestling, but like, so he's really wanting Pat McAfee in the mix and getting those ticket sales boosted up. And so who knows if this is all a big kind of storyline that's all everybody's working together to do it. But at the same time, and even just tonight on Raw, CM Punk cut a little bit of a promo against Pat McAfee too, and he's like, hey, your agent, meaning Ari Emanuel, needs to tell everybody at TKO to drop the WrestleMania ticket sales. He said that on Raw tonight. So it's just like, what's going on here? It's kind of wild stuff at the moment. But.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you like Pat McAfee? What do you think of him, like getting inserted?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen very little of him, but sure.
Yeah.
I don't have any stories and haven't really seen a lot of what he does. I've seen him ask a couple of questions or whatever, and sure.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's charismatic and stuff like that. I just don't like, from the perspective of it all, I just don't think he fits what they're doing from a story perspective, but we'll see how it goes. He was trained by Rip Rogers, by the way, like early on back in the day.
So he's a full-on wrestler.
He trained as a wrestler, and then he got in the ring. Yeah, he worked with Adam Cole in NXT, and then he's had a couple of matches. He worked with Gunther at WrestlePalooza, I think it was. And he's done a couple matches and stuff like that. He's not bad, he's not bad. So, but yeah, I mean, like he was mostly the commentator and stuff for WWE and stuff. That was what he was mostly doing, but they just turned him heel. So we'll see where it goes, They're trying to boost some interest, I guess, a little bit. But
Good
so
luck, Pat.
Maddie wants you to frog splash him.
Understood.
Yep. Frankie Teresa, thank you for the $5. Always ask the good questions. Did ECW tone down the sex and violence when it got to pay-per-view? How about when it got to TNN? When was it the best? He asked to ECW. So did they tone down the sex and violence when they got to pay-per-view? Or did they amp it up?
That's a pretty interesting question. I feel like it was kind of the same, but I remember conversations happening around that point. Like, would we be able to do as much this and as much that? Because it was going to reach a much larger audience. But since it was not free TV and it was pay-per-view, I think that gave us a lot of leeway. There could have been rules on like so many matches with blood, so many matches with this. I'm not really sure. It sounds like a conversations that might have happened. But it was the first pay-per-view or the second, whatever, that like they brought in Jenna Jameson, and so I kind of feel like not that they were pushing the envelope anymore, but that they were also not hiding from what we were. I feel like from what I remember of the matches that were on pay-per-view, I feel like it was a pretty good representation of what our product was. It was a little different. It was the first time I remember ever having a time cue in mind. You know, like I didn't know how long 20 minutes was. I just never at that point I never had to feel it when I was out there. Just whatever I felt was good. And I didn't really know how long I went, you know, unless someone told me afterwards. So that wasn't even part of the job until after we started doing pay-per-view. TNN for sure though. And TNN, if everybody remembers right, they even started censoring us. And then Paul did the shoot promo on TNN where I think they took the whole audio out. Maybe I have that VHS tape with his, and he's basically challenging the Nashville network, which is what it was back then, to throw us off the air. And he told us he was doing that because he was stuck there due to contractual obligations, and that we were set up to have a shitty position, and that we needed them to throw us off the air to get away from them. And that's what he told us. I doubt that was 100% true, but he did do the shoot promo.
Yeah. So that's when I got into ECW, was during the TNN era, actually. And so I was like, anything that you guys did, even to that level, was like, that's edgy to me. I was like, holy crap, I can't. And like, it was almost still kind of watching like almost like this rebellious underground kind of vibe to it still at that point in time. But I mean, I feel like it was like before that.
It was still the same product. It was just maybe, you know, taken from an R to a PG-13 or something comparable to that level, where, you know, like we'll say no to a few more things that we would have said yes to.
All right, Rob. I love hockey, and I love the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if you wanted to take the Pittsburgh Penguins to win the whole Stanley Cup, you can get them right now on FanDuel for plus 4,000. So if you're a Pens fan like me, I might lay a little money down on these Pittsburgh Penguins just to see what happens. Fellas, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up, and Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level, championship belt, gold-plated energy. One of a kind, if you will. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. No, no, no. This is the 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works just as little in 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. And we at RVD got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code RVD. That's promo code RVD. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And hey, we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Right. Little bit. Got to find the balance. Maddie chimes in again. Thank you for the Australian $5. He says, RVD and Austin sound so content with their current life. Why do you think some can't be content? RVD or Austin still get 2 of the biggest crowd pops too. Mania plan. Oh, and what's your Mania plan? Yeah. So that's a great perspective by Maddie too. You guys are pretty comfortable with your life, you and Stone Cold, it seems like, outside of wrestling.
There's something that I think everybody I mean, who am I to say what people should do? That's already, I catch myself wanting to put that disclosure up, but I think it's a good idea for people to seek fulfillment. And it's something natural that we do, but fulfillment means that there's actually a finish line. You know what I mean? Like, some people get into the drive so much, they always want more and more and more, and they always like why get up if you're not going to give everything you got to this one thing on your mind? And why even do anything unless you're going to do it 1,000%? Like, that's all bullshit to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at things that way, that's fine. But there's answers. Why do anything if I'm not going to do it 1,000%? Because it needs done. I need to get the mail. I don't have to run out there as fast as I can and break a record time and emptying the mailbox and coming back or anything like that. There's no need to be that competitive. And when it comes to competitive, especially, now that I'm raising my kids, having such a competitive life, like my almost entire life, now at this stage, I don't think it should be competitive. I don't think everybody should look at everything as competition. It makes you too biased towards your non-subjective self. So if you know what, who cares who's the prettiest girl in the classroom? I mean, maybe it's subjective. I shouldn't say who cares, but everybody shouldn't care that much. Especially if you're a girl, you shouldn't have to be, you shouldn't have to worry about being the best at everything. Okay, who's the funniest one in here? Me. Everybody wants to be in that number one spot, no matter what you're talking about. Who here likes pizza? I got a free pizza for whoever likes it the most. Me. I do. Everything is so fucking competitive, and everybody compares themselves to everybody. It's okay to do that on the download just to get your standards, but I don't agree with living like that in competition and in comparison. What if you are a fat kid? What if you weigh 400 pounds and another kid says, dude, you're a big dude. He's going to be, instincts are to be defensive, fuck off, man. Your mama's a big dude. You know what I mean? Like, we have that in us, and it's so stupid. If you weren't biased to your own self, maybe you would be like, yeah, and it would be like so much easier to deal with. And it doesn't even mean that it's true. It just means somebody is telling you subjectively they think you're a big dude. So it's like, and well, what's the point to it? It's supposed to hurt my feelings, because it doesn't, unless I look at it as if, like, I'm not doing good in the competition. I'm not doing good comparing me to all these other kids. Oh no, I'm standing out by this one flaw. Fuck that. You know what? What if you were just like, hey man, your hair's funny? What if you were like, yeah, I guess it is. You're right. Boom. I mean, people don't know how to be like that. But honestly, there's so much more positive energy, less room for tension, stress, awkwardness, and it's taking competition out. I forgot what the question was that Maddie asked now, because
he didn't make too much of a question, but he did say, let me see here. I'll pull back up though. He said, RVD and Austin sound so content with their current life. Why do you think some can't be content?
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with comparing their paths to other people's paths. The word is fulfilledness. Okay. I feel fulfilled. You know what I mean? I feel fulfilled in life. A lot of people don't, because they have a lot of stuff that they feel like they need to do that they haven't done yet. I got goals still, things that I want to get around to doing and whatever. But overall, they're not important. They're not needs. And I'm fulfilled because I have a family of love. I have an understanding of how to live life, a great relationship with the universe, and being fulfilled is like feeling content is a word that does describe it, but content is just such a mellow first level feeling. Like, content means, okay, I'm content. I'm fine. Where I don't need anything. I'm just fine. I'm pleased with the way things are going. Leave me alone. I'm content. Leave me right here. Fulfilled can be the same thing, but it also can be, you know, like an abundance of what you consider joyful. And a lot of people can't have that because they're always going to compare. You know, what if I was like, hey, you know, at least I got enough money when I'm at the grocery store. I can buy whatever I want. I don't have to say, oh no, I got to wait till that's on sale. But then again, can I buy big fucking airplanes and boats and have mansions all over the world like a couple of my peers? Well, fuck no. So how can I be fulfilled? That's a way of feeling uncontent, dissatisfied, and feeling like your accomplishments are not worth as much as maybe they could be. It has to do with your own values, your own goals, how you feel about where you're at in life based on those values and goals. And you know, I'm very glad and proud to say that I am very fulfilled. I didn't used to be, you know. It used to be like if somebody called me and wanted someone else's number, you know, like, hey, I want to put Chris Jericho in this movie, man. Can you hook me up and get his number? There'd be part of me that'd be like, fuck, why isn't it me he wants?
Yeah.
The fuck am I going to get Chris in the movie for? Does he know I'm an actor? What the fuck, man? Fuck, why isn't that me? Why isn't it me is a way that I used to live that I just don't anymore, because I got to where looking at my own path satisfied me and got me to feeling fulfilled, to where I'm like, that isn't me because it isn't me, you know, that's not meant for me. Or if it comes back around and it is meant to be, then it will be then. But right now, looking at my path and what I've done and what I'm doing and all that, if that is enough to really satisfy your hunger, then you're fulfilled.
That's a great point too. I think it kind of ties back into what we were talking about earlier too, when it comes to like just being in the business and not being able to control things in the business. I think too, at the same time, like you and Austin have both fulfilled so much as like achieved so much in the ring at that point in time. But the neat thing about you guys is you clearly have outside interests too. At the same time, you don't find fulfillment just in the ring. Like you have stuff with Katie and, you know, the babies now and, you know, other things as well. And then Austin, he likes his cats and he goes out, chills out on his farm with his roosters and all that kind of stuff. And then at the same time, he does racing and stuff. So there's like, you guys find extracurricular fun and engaging activities outside of the ring that don't necessarily tie you to it and make you in that competitive mindset too much anymore. But the funny thing that Maddie brings up too, which I think is great, is you guys still get two of the biggest reactions when you show up. Like, and it's just like, I think that speaks to what you guys do like outside of it, because it's like, oh, I could come back and do something, but I don't need to. And I think fans get attracted to that, I think, too, at the same time.
I think also that a lot of the questions that I have a hard time answering, I think it's because of this, you know, like if you said, who's the one guy that you really want to wrestle, you haven't wrestled, wouldn't that make me be unfulfilled? Right. If I was like, you know what, I've done a lot in this business, Dom, but I really, really want to have a fucking tables, ladders, and bear claw match with Jeff Hardy. Like one more time, I really want that. I mean, that would be a very unfulfilled kind of thing to say. And so when people ask me, like, who's the guy you never got to wrestle that you want to? I'm like, I don't do fantasy matches, you know, and then I just name, like, let me just think of someone that'd be cool. Okay, yeah, Bad News Brown. You know, my answer might change next week, but I don't have answers for things like that, because I look at more of being, I'm in the attitude of gratitude, which means, you know, boom, I'm so happy for everything that I have, whereas other people think about, I need so much more things to make me happy.
Right, yeah. And it's always like going to be chasing the dragon, so to speak. You're never really going to get it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that's not a bad thing if that's what keeps you alive, I guess. but it's not consistent with my values, and that's
No,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not the guy that's going to tell you the early bird gets the worm. I don't eat worms. Fucking let let the neighbor get the coffee before me. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like all those little expressions that are supposed to motivate you. Like boom, you're sleeping until 10 o'clock. Guess what? Your neighbor already got 4 jobs done today. He's done this. That's great. If that's what you want to do, motivate yourself, get that drive, and feel like you've got a lot of stuff that you have to do in order to feel fulfilled for the day. But that's not me.
it's not. And I think that's what makes you so engaging to fans too, is like, oh, Rob has that attitude. Like, oh, I could do with or without it. I don't necessarily need it. And I think, that's a kind of a cool factor. You and Steve have it still in this. I think that's a great point Matty has to make. He also makes another great point. He wants to see you also frog splash Randy Orton and a receipt for the punt that he gave you. So that'd be nice.
Yeah, I do still owe him. I do still owe him for that punt. That was a stiff ass fucking kick. Had me seeing stars. Yeah,
Jeez
I had
Louise.
some really good matches. I always liked the matches with Randy, except sometimes I felt like my position during that was just to be a ragdoll to get him over, which happens a lot. And it's hard to feel fulfilled when you're doing shit like that. So being away from that also helps me feel more fulfilled. And you know what I mean? Like my whole last run in 2015, when I was in WWE, staring at the lights every single night, I was not content or fulfilled. Quite the opposite during that whole fucking run.
Well, I don't blame you on that one. I don't blame you on that one because, like I said before on here, when you showed up, when you returned, I think it was like Money in the Bank in Philly or whatever. And
that was 2013.
That was before, yeah. That was before. But like I remember being so amped up and like RVD's back that finally they're gonna get something good going again with them and everything like that. And then they brought you back for like the regular time, and then you were just like a side character basically. Where it's just like, what the fuck? It's RVD, man.
I had a really good return in 13, and then like a year went by, and then I came back and shouldn't have.
Yeah,
but whatever. Yeah,
hindsight's 2020. That's for sure on that one. But he also, Matty also asks, what are your WrestleMania plans? Well, Matty, I have them right here for you. This is one of them. Rob is going to be doing this. Will it pop up? There it is. We got it right here. Oop, hold on. Boom. He will be taking on The Demand, RVD, and QT Marshall with Starboard Charlie at High Stakes Las Vegas, April 17th. Let's see if I can remove the frame here so you can get a better look. But check it out, April 17th. 1301 Main Street, South Main Street. Bell time is at 2:30 p.m. Las Vegas time. So be sure to check that out. So that'll be a fun one. But that's one of the several things you'll be doing WrestleMania weekend.
Very, very busy week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it's next week already.
Isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. I better rest up. And then Saturday, I am doing a pre-show watch party thing for the Plaza, and and then Sunday, Oh no, Sunday that thing fell through. Yeah, maybe I'll stop by WrestleMania Sunday. Maybe, if I have enough energy after the week. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Are you still doing the after party for the Nerd? Is that so going?
Yes, you will be your brother's wrestling at the Nerd Bar, huh?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll be in it.
Have you been to the
Nerd Bar?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, we saw Micromania going down there. That was, what is he named? The 50 Cent guy. That he's like, is he a quarter?
25 cents.
25 cent. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
He took on. He took on the Michael Jackson guy. I remember that one match. That was fun. That was a good time.
Those are some characters.
Yes. But my brother will be in action. I'll be in his corner. This will be during the Sabu Memorial Block Party. And Marcus, I'm making the announcement now. Marcus will be defending the IWC High Stakes Championship. That'll be on the line as he takes on Rubio. So newcomer
What
rookie.
night is that?
I think it's not Friday. Wait, it is Friday. No, Thursday. I'm sorry. It's Thursday.
Oh.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yep. Woo! Spring is in the air, and so is good smelling dudes. That's right. You want to smell like a good smelling dude, right? Right? You want to smell like an adult. Well, no better way to get that achieved than to go with Mando. Yes, Mando's been a long-time sponsor here at One of a Kind with RVD, and I absolutely love the product. It's my favorite kind of deodorant they have going today because you do. It's not those high potent smells that you get from all these other in-store deodorants that, name brand stuff. Mando is growing, and for good reason, because they give you some unique smells, and you smell different, you smell like an adult. Plus, they have different varieties of ways to smell good. You get the deodorant spray, which I love, is my favorite. If you're in a quick pinch, you need to spray, hose yourself down a little bit. Or you have the deodorant creams like this one right here. Boom, look at this. And you have plenty of other options too, deodorant wipes, so many other cool things that I have going on here at Mando. And my personal favorite, I'd probably have to say, is the Mount Fuji, because that was the first one I was introduced to, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm hooked on the Mount Fuji. Second choice is bourbon leather. You can get your traditional deodorant stick too, if that's what you're into. So, yes, indeed, we got a special deal for our listeners. Some men mask their BO with sense. Mando Men gets the job done right. Don't mask it, Mando it. Available in retailers near you, or head to shopmando.com, because for a limited time, you customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code RVD at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that One of a Kind with RVD sent you. Mando's got you covered. With deodorant plus sweat control, say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. I'll plug it. I should have plugged it tonight. But
I know Sabu's getting a memorial, and I guess this is probably part of it.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you have the details with the memorial, the monument that's being installed, or whatever it is?
So I think what Johnny's doing is like a chair setup. I think it is, or something.
I think so. But it's going to be permanent, right? Like a statue.
It's going to be permanent. Yeah, it's going to be permanent. So I don't know when he's unveiling that, but what I'll do is I'll post that on our social medias and stuff like that, and so people can get an idea. Because Johnny's got a whole itinerary of stuff going down on Thursday and Friday, and then obviously the WrestleMania after party too. So he's got a whole bunch of cool stuff planned. Not only is my brother wrestling, but there'll be other names on bigger names on the card too. I know Brian Cage is taking on Jack Cartwheel one of the nights. Willie Mack, I think, is in action too, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be a really, really good time. I'm pretty excited. So
nice. I'm going to try to make it down. And then my after-hour party at the Nerd is Sunday night, 4/19.
Sunday night. Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely be there for that too. I got to tell you something off air too when we're done about that.
Kayfabe.
This is a good question here by Maddie. I like this one. He asked, what would Sheik say about all the celebrities at WrestleMania? Celebrity involvement.
I think that he would be happy that they're involved, but not probably part of the match. And that's, I could be wrong, but since y'all know that I don't like it when non-wrestlers wrestle and make it look easy. Even wrestlers aren't good enough to wrestle till they're doing it 4 or 5 years. And by the way, when I repost on Instagram all the times wrestlers are diving and landing on their head and fucking up and falling, I do that with intention, because when I'm reposting it, every time I'm thinking these are people that are doing shit they shouldn't be doing. Right. You guys might be getting sick of hearing us old heads say this is how it used to be, but for the sake of conversation, that's where my insight is. So, deal with it a little bit here. I'm just letting you know it used to be like even on indie shows, like I would be like the only guy that would be jumping over the top rope to the floor, like a tope, like that would be like a high spot of the whole show. And it was because I was acrobatic. I was a high flyer. It wasn't like Manny Fernandez and Wahoo McDaniel were going over the top rope, diving to the floor. But now that everybody thinks they have to do everybody else's shit, a lot of people are trying to get moves over when it's very unnatural for them, whether it's the Van Daminator and they suck at it, whether it's dives, whether it's hardcore using weapons and exposing the business, because everybody can tell, that he's fucking selling something when you got the impact was nowhere near. And I got some things in mind, but I don't want to insult anybody. Something I've seen, but a lot of that is in my mind when I'm posting it. A lot of times that's why, like, all right, that dude's 400 pounds. He's not an acrobatic guy. And by the way, I never had 18 guys to catch me either. It was like one guy.
Right.
Sometimes two, and that'd be a high spot. Like if there's two guys and they're looking at each other, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Then it would be like even like, wow, you got two guys down with one fucking bowling ball. That's great. But the fact that you see 15 people out there to catch, that tells you the person diving should not be doing this.
That's it, right?
That is not a diver. That's not a high spotter. That's somebody that doesn't know their realm of wrestling, in at least, compared to old school rules.
Well, sometimes you'd have no people catching you if you had Lance Storm. You're wrestling Lance Storm.
That was my risk. Nowadays, I think Lance would get in trouble.
Right.
That's what's crazy is like that was my risk. Like if you're gonna do a high risk move, you're taking the risk. Everyone else would say like, nah, fuck that, Rob. You do that crazy shit yourself. I'm good. And I'd be like, all right, fuck it. And then if I had to eat shit because somebody couldn't catch me because I was a heavy catch at 235 with my big ass going over the top rope, people did not want to catch me because they were one person. And so a lot of people wouldn't catch me and I'd eat shit. And I wouldn't let them know because my ego would be like, well, you know what? Don't sell it. You wanted to do that move. They let you eat shit and now they want you to cry about it. Fuck no. I'm just going to say, oh, I don't know if I got you on that one. Fuck you. You fucking got out of the way, you bitch. But I would take the blame myself and shit now because it's more about choreography and about getting the spots than it is about the mindset of competing through it all. Because of that, nowadays, if somebody caught wrong, they would probably get in trouble afterwards or something, which is the opposite of the way the business has always been the entire time I've been in it. You know what I mean? Like nobody made us do shit. It was us wanting to do exciting shit that made us stand out. And now you got to not do that to stand out. Hey, at least I don't have any tattoos. I'll still stand out as far as that goes.
That's it. You're one of the rarities now, Rob.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. This reminded me, I think this was last week. Do you know who Peter Rosenberg is? Okay,
he's
a
baseball player.
No, you're thinking of Pete Rose.
I know, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I know Pete Rose.
Yeah.
But no.
But okay, so he's on ESPN New York, but he's also kind of like a WWE personality. He's on the pre-shows and stuff like that. But he's grew up a wrestling fan, but he's like big into hip hop and stuff like that. But he does a lot of sports talk radio too. Well, he made this tweet out, and it got a lot of buzz because he's not a wrestler. He saw this. I don't know if you saw that Io skydive where she dove through the ropes and like landed really badly. It was like really bad looking. So this is what he said in response to that, and I want to get your thoughts here, Rob. He says, "This is why I tell whoever I can at Evolve," that's the WWE like under thing that goes on, and even on the main roster, don't bother with these dives. They are all risk, no reward. If you successfully hit a suicide dive in 2026, no one cares. But if you mess it up, you could truly harm yourself. Don't do it. And I kind of agree with him, Rob. And a lot of people push back.
Yeah, sounds fair. Like it's gratuitous now. It's it's like obligatory. It doesn't mean anything anymore, especially because there's so many people out there, and because they're just standing there looking at you anyway. They stopped wrestling. So I don't believe you stop the match at any point unless I mean, if someone's injured and you're going to call it and actually say, boom, we're done, short of that, you don't stop the match to make sure you're in the right spot and think people don't know. And if you're doing it and you just don't care that people know, well, then that's insulting to me. It really is. Just that that's your mindset about the business.
Right. It's like you're not creating the believability or the reality to that what you want to convey.
I take more pride in my work than that. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I am, but it's so obvious to me watching how they skip right over so much of the training that puts you in that mindset of, okay, now you're ready to be in front of people.
Mm-hmm. Right. A lot of that just gets put to the wayside too. It's crazy. And like, it's funny too, because when I was talking to Jerry Lynn and stuff like that, he was conveying a lot of the same stuff you always tell too in here, like in between the little details and all that stuff. And it's just
We'll probably be outdated and it'll just keep changing the way it is, and morph into whatever the fuck it's doing. I don't know. But like I said, along the way, if people get sick of hearing us, talk about the way it used to be, that's I don't think my perspective is going to change. I mean, I'm not trying to, well, maybe I am trying to fight it. If there's, I am, part of me doesn't give up thinking it's worth trying to reach these kids,
Oh, totally. Right. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. At least I appreciate it as a fan. I like it. It's funny too. I interviewed Bret Hart like last week, and he mentioned this is nothing to do with like high flying dives or anything, but this got a little bit of buzz online too. Part of the interview was he was talking about his match with Scott Hall, Razor Ramon at Royal Rumble 93. And he was saying like Scott was only a few years in the business. Like he wasn't aware of Scott that much, but he did mention like Scott Hall had the razor's edge. And Bret was like, I'm not going to take that move. He's like, it looks too dangerous because like I'm laying on my back. I don't want to do it, kind of thing like that.
Falling backwards.
Falling backwards and all that stuff. And Bret's like, I'm not going to do that. And he said at the time too, Vince kind of gave him the go ahead because he was the champion and he was like the next big guy. He has authority to kind of dictate what goes on in the matches and stuff like that. And Bret was like, and I was still kind of getting used to that at that point too. So he was like, this was like kind of a fresh start. And he talked about working with Ric Flair right before that too. And so he happened to say, I'm not going to do that. Well, him and Scott, like, he could tell Scott was a little miffed about it at that point and stuff, but they had a great match. I thought it was. And then later on, Bret managed to say like me and Scott then kind of saw eye to eye on a lot of things and we got along and like we had a better match. We had a good match too at King of the Ring and like whole lot of buzz got it because they said, oh, Bret's bitter. He doesn't want to take Scott Hall's move. And like, sure, he's always, and I'm like, that was not the case at all. Bret was just kind of dictating, like telling him what was going on. And he was really reflective about it. But like it made me think about too, like, did you have a lot of opportunities too where you'd be like, I'm not going to take that and stuff like that? Or would you just be like, I will take that because I'm capable of taking it? Because you mentioned before too, Rob, I remember you said like the dream match of you and Bret Hart happening, you'd be like, you'd be afraid, you'd be too stiff with them and stuff like that. It would be kind of more of a different kind of vibe between you and Bret maybe working in the ring together.
Maybe because I've heard him brag that he says he's never hurt anybody in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have those bragging rights, and I used to hearing people say that I'm on the snugger side. So I just wonder if my style would insult him, that would be something in my mind, but I'm sure the match would be great. And it's not, I shouldn't be afraid, that I would like bust him open or anything like that. But sometimes it does happen, and sometimes there's only like a tiny little half an inch between something making contact and being really solid and awesome and being just a little bit too much and knocking somebody out. That would suck to be the only guy to ever knock the Hitman out or something like that. A one-man gang, when I wrestled him, he said he'd been wrestling 12 years at that point, which is that right? Because maybe this would have been like 97, 98. So could he have started like in 84 86. Because
One Man Gang. I'll check it out.
I remember him saying, I've been wrestling 12 years. I ain't never broke a bone. I ain't never been knocked out. I wrestled you one time. I got both of them.
Wow, Rob. So according to Wikipedia, it says he started in 1977.
Yeah, that's why 12 years don't make sense. That's why, like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, ain't no way, because 22 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Age of 17, it says, on the independent circuit in Carolina.
Well, maybe I remember it wrong. Either that or he didn't want to sound like he was old. But either way, but back to Maddie's question, I think, like at WrestleMania, it was a big deal. Cyndi Lauper was there, and maybe James Brown, and like some. It really mixed. It mixed the community together. It made wrestling seem more like part of the overall culture, and it was cool. But it's not like Liberace did a run in and fucking jumped off the top rope and hit somebody with something.
Fucking did a Spanish fly.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Sheik would have been consistent with my thoughts, that what we do is not easy and it doesn't get the credit it deserves anyway. Why fake it to make it look like it's even easier than it is by working around people that aren't wrestlers or athletes or couldn't even survive taking bumps 2 days in a row, but then go ahead and give them their day and bring wrestling down to the level of where everybody feels like they can do it. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of with you too in a lot of ways, because I think too, a different way to look at it is like, that was back in like 1984. And so you look at today's world, everybody has their own avenue they can go down, and there's plenty of avenues because you have so much accessibility, and you can go, if I'm interested in comic books, I can just strictly look at comic book stuff, or if I want to go watch video games, people play video games, I can do that. So everything is so segmented. So you bring in these celebrities, they might be a big deal, but are they as big of a deal as Mr. T was back in 1984 is kind of what my question was. I wasn't alive at that point, so I don't even know. But I can't take that firsthand. But
yeah, well, I got something I gotta say to that, and this is for perspective for people listening too, because I just think this is interesting, and a lot of people might not realize this or overlook it. Celebrities were bigger back then. We only had 3 channels growing up. Mm-hmm. Now, not only do we have 5,000 different channels, but we got all the social media. We got celebrities that have never been on TV. They just have millions of followers. They're influencers, so they're celebrities in their own mind. YouTube, famous, whatever. But like growing up, we had 3 channels, and then we got a 4th one, which was Fox. It was ABC, NBC, UHF. And that was all we got. So everybody watched MASH. Everybody watched Alice. It was like we all had to watch the same things. And so those celebrities really were a part of all of our lives. We didn't have as much to choose from. And so the day of, and if you go way back, like say to the 20s, when they just started, putting sound in movies and you could hear voices of the actor. Talkies! Yeah. All that shit. If you think about like how fucking famous they were like gods as far as like the recognizability. Everybody watched movies. You didn't have shit to do in your house, way back then. So going to the movies was like an alternative to killing yourself. But yeah. But so anyway, as time goes on, there's more and more and more, and so it doesn't mean as much. I think, if Liberace carried a chair down and threw the chair in, and the wrestler caught the chair or something. That's great, but yeah, to make it look, I mean, it's disrespectful to what we do, and there's no other way that I can see it except that in the day of fuck kayfabe, I get where everything seems to be just for a pop now, and they sacrifice a lot of the integrity that used to be there. So I do see that, and I do want to add, I did see Jelly Roll wrestle.
Yes.
And,
you watched it?
I did watch that. Yeah, I caught that. He did good.
Yeah.
He did good. Yeah. But people that are watching that are like that think he did just as good as another wrestler, no. He did great, passable, definitely. But even Shano, as many matches as Shano has, if you talk to a wrestler that's actually wrestled Shano, he's not going to tell you it was like wrestling another wrestler that was seasoned, and it was more like a celebrity that had been in a few matches, and it really does make a big difference on the inside. So now it's like in order to get this whole idea over, it's like you have to overact like it's faker than it really is, and that's what's hard to wrap my head around. When I think about all the times that I got my ass beat in the ring when I was younger, or times that things got a little ugly in the ring, or just stiff, or the competition, being in there with people, and we know like behind the scenes there's something else much deeper is going on. I think about all that shit and the solid fucking blows that came as a result of it, and I think how all of that is being completely ignored just so we can say, you guys are right, we're all just playing. We're just playing.
Yeah. No, I think there's certainly a balance. Like, yeah, if Liberace's throwing a chair in the ring, no big deal. And it's one thing if like somebody gets knocked down by Muhammad Ali instead of say Machine Gun Kelly or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like there's a little bit of a distinction, and you can certainly do things like somebody like a Logan Paul. He looks the part. Sure, he's a YouTube influencer, but he's like an athlete, and he's kind of shown he's capable of doing a lot of great stuff in the ring too at the same time. But
what? Yeah, here's a thought that just hit my head. You remember me telling you the story about the Black Hearts? They came to Japan. They got so much heat with everybody, and Stan Hansen decided to give them a receipt in the ring because they had so much heat. And he had a chair, and he busted both of them open one at a time. And like they had the black nylon mask pulled over their head, but it looked like someone smashed like a can of tomato paste or tomato juice. It was just like the big red spot. They both afterwards were like making up to Stan after thanking him for the match, saying that I apologize. I know I got out of hand. Imagine, compare that, if you will, to the Rampage's son incident, where everybody was mad because he got revenge on the guy, not at that moment, but later on in the ring when he trusted him. Isn't that a similar? Is it different, or is that the same thing? I mean, Stu hit what's his face, Rampage Jr.
Raja.
Boom.
Yeah.
Raja hit him, boom. And I've always said, you're getting tested. You go in the dressing room, you don't know people, and they hit you like that. Fucking knock them out, but knock them out right then. And most people agree with that, or they just say, but they're both wrestlers. It should be okay if he hits you. He didn't hit him that hard, dude. It was a prop can. None of that matters. None of that matters in real life. He could have had a fucking stuffed animal in his hand and just popped it on the dude's head. And if you don't know someone and they do that, doesn't matter if you're on the sidewalk or in the dressing room. If you're being tested, you have a choice. Are you going to say, fuck you, I'm not the one? Or are you going to say, what did you do? And that's your choice. But a lot of people that agreed with if Raja would have just decked him right there, would have been okay. What if he would have almost killed him? Don't know. But later on, because so much time had passed, and they think that they made up, which again, I saw not that, but a conditional apology as long as he got to get him back.
Right.
But then the timing, we all agree he shouldn't have waited until later and then and then shouldn't have gone as far as what he did. Shouldn't have. Well, whatever. It was his choice. What if he wanted to kill him? But I'm just thinking, and this thing happened up with Stan, and that's old school. You know what I mean? Somebody gets heat, Bob Holly and Renee, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Did Bob Holly kick Renee's ass as soon as he saw him, as soon as he found out about the ticket that allegedly was on the windshield? No, he waited until they got in the ring and worked and then beat the shit out of him. That's how come that doesn't get the same kind of heat and attention because it's old school rules. It's a inner sanctum teaching process. You know what I mean? Like within, and so outsiders can see that as something a little more acceptable. But really, it's kind of the same thing, except for the fact that Raja had no business being there because he wasn't even a wrestler.
Right. He wasn't. Yeah, that's it too. That's I guess one caveat to it. But I think that's a fair point nonetheless too. It's like, you settled in the.
You got to eat with somebody, and then you got to work them. I mean, you kind of expect it, like, yeah, they're gonna be wanting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway, just a thought, just explaining some of the inside sillyisms that people on the outside just don't understand.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? That's very true. Jim the Don has a RVDology question for you, Rob. This is a good one too. I think we're all capable of doing this. Jim the Don, $2. Thanks for asking. RVDology on Overthinking. Stoked to see you WrestleMania weekend. What's your thought process on Overthinking? Rob, jeez. Almost called you Robert, my co-host, my other co-host.
My thoughts on Overthinking are this. You like you said, it's something that we all do. Worrying doesn't solve anything. If you add worry to it and then it's fucked, the worst happens, then you stressed out and then still had shit at the end. If you don't worry, at least you can have and you still end up there. It's actually less suffering in the long run. But here's the thing: you have to ask yourself, is it something you can do something about? Mm-hmm. If the answer is no, then you just have to reason with yourself. Dude, it already happened. I keep thinking about, why did I say that to him? Why the fuck did I say that to him? God, I wish I wouldn't have said that. But you already did. Is there anything you can do about it to fix it moving forward? Could you say something else to him about it? Could you bring it up? Okay, well then, by thinking about it and obsessing about it, even though it already happened, if you can find a solution, in other words, if there's something you can do about it, then not only is it worth thinking about, but now you know how much to think about it. And then boom, you solved it. You're done. You thought about it and you got a solution. So good. Now you feel better. You won't obsess about it. If there's nothing you can do about it, like, damn, I should have fucking told him that. Now he's gone. Or damn, I fucking forgot. I wanted to give him this thing and now he's gone. Whatever it is. I mean, it could be really deep. Could be experiencing something with someone that's a loved one that's gone, whatever. If you are overthinking about it and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, then you just have to reason with yourself. Hey, am I reasonable? It may not be easy to let go, and I won't let it go. What I'll do is I'll recategorize it. So I'll still remember that conversation that I had that I'm regretting, but instead of it being something I obsess over, I'm going to recategorize it right now because I realize there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to categorize it as just a bad memory that I learned from. And then, boom, automatically, I won't be thinking about it as much anymore. Um, unless you have exceptional problems, that shit works for me right there. Is it something I can do something about or not? As long as the answer is yes, you're not done thinking about it then, If you're like, God, should I get the car or should I not? Fuck. Well, you got to make up your mind. You got some unfinished business. You don't know. You got to find that answer. And then if no, okay. But then if afterwards you're like, man, I can't think and maybe I should have done it. Fuck. Well, can you still get it? No, then fuck off. Let it go. You got to let it go. If there's nothing you can do about it. If there is something you can do about it, then think about it enough. Think about it enough. Decide if you're going to do something about it. If you are, what? If you do, you'll quit thinking about it. If you recategorize it as just something to learn from, but it's part of the past and it's something that that you cannot change now, all you can do is keep it as a lesson learned. That will help you quit obsessing about it as well.
That's some great points. I like the aspect too, where you recategorize it. If you can't do anything about it, then think about it in a different manner. And then, okay, that's how it is. I know I'm diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, and I legitimately obsess over things. I overthink everything a lot of the times. And like something just from the bare minimum, what you can even do is acknowledge that you're overthinking it. Like, oh, am I spending too much time on this? And then kind of make realization of it and then be like, okay, I just have to redirect myself and like just think about something different or like what you're doing in the moment and everything like that. And that's kind of a good foundation to kind of get yourself away from that. But I think, Rob, what you added on to it too, recategorizing it and thinking about it a little differently is like a good grand scheme of how to help in the ultimate realm.
Sure. Yeah, because it may not go away, but it doesn't mean the same thing anymore once you recategorize it. So I still hate myself over some things that I did when I was like 20 or 21, just being a really shitty boyfriend, to somebody that was really nice. And I think about like, and sometimes I think about it and I'm like, so like ashamed but what I had to do was, instead of using that as a source to be ashamed of, I have to use it as something to be proud of because I'm not that person anymore. And I'm so glad that I've grown so much and changed so much from that I'm able to see that as the exact opposite of good values. And I see so many other people that are there right now. And I just think, man, are they going to grow someday and look back at what assholes they are now? Or are they just always going to live right there and just be, basic thinkers and or low life people with a lot of drama?
Rob, I can't tell you how much I think about people now in the basic thinker kind of category, where it's just like, are they going to move on from where they're thinking currently? Or are they? How long are they going to stay in that position?
Right. Yeah. And although the answer is not there for you, what you need to do is just be grateful that you are someone that's traveled from, that you're growing and that you see the growth and that you can look back at a point where you used to be and see so much improvement that you would not ever want to be that person again and recognize that in other people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, seeing like I used to be.
Yeah, I used to be like that. I
used to be an asshole. Yeah.
I used to do all that stuff. Another thing, Jem, too, real quick, and this is my therapist told me this too, is give yourself an allotted time to think about something. Or plan to think. Allotted.
Allotted time?
Yeah, an allotted time. So be like, okay, I'm going to think about this for like 15 minutes. Or pick a time. At 2:30, I'll think about that. And then set yourself some time to think about that if you really want to, but that kind of helps you can move on to.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. More super chats. We'll plow through some of these. Triple E. Rob, we haven't talked about this yet. Triple E asked this one. Y'all's predictions for Sandman versus the Invisible Man at Joey Janela's spring break. Y'all see the videos he shot? Will RVD cost Marcus his match and do a run-in?
Yeah. I saw Sandman on a talk show sitting on the couch with was it Joey Janela?
It was Joey Janela, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he got attacked by the Invisible Man,
Yes.
It's what can I say?
God.
What do you say to that? It's I'm interested to see what he does with it in the match, and just because I love Sandman, I will probably be entertained by it if I'm able to watch it. But obviously, after talking about how I view celebs in the business, Casper the Friendly Ghost is a step down from there. That's a step down from having a match with a broomstick.
What's the worst? Having a match with the broomstick, having a match with the ghost, or having a match with a 9-year-old girl?
See that I believe it goes in the ascension level that you just named. So
okay,
yeah.
All right.
But it is what it is, and we can't can't turn back the hands of time, but doesn't mean I have to give in anyway. I mean, my opinion is still going to change, and I'm going to watch it, and without insulting him, I'm planning on thinking this is stupid, right?
Yeah. What I'm kind of hoping is a little bit of a curveball is going to happen here. It might not be totally the Invisible Man. There might be a little something.
I saw him get attacked by the Invisible Man when he was sitting on the couch.
It is true. Yes, there was. That is a good point. All right, Maddie. He's a member for 9 months. Thanks for the membership, Maddie. He says 2 bong hits make a right. Oba versus Brock. Who are you picking versus Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, Rob?
Is that the main event at WrestleMania?
That's a WrestleMania match that they're having. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar.
I hope I get a chance to watch that one.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah. Oba all the way.
I'm with you for sure. And then he says, Dom is a legend for this show. Part of me wants to pass Dom the bong. Smoke one for him, Van Dam fam. That's right. If I smoked, I would probably not be in a good state of mind.
Speaking of, I was just thinking, dude, what I got this sent to me, mud water.
Yes.
These are,
I'm drinking that right now, Rob, actually. That's what I have in this mug.
It's a drink? It sounds like, I didn't know exactly what it was. And they sent it to us as a gift.
They sent it to us, as a gift. You get a frother in there. You get the mud water in there. The frother is awesome, Rob.
Mushroom coffee. I dig it.
Yeah, I dig it. I've been drinking it. So.
Okay, sweet. Well, thank you, Mudwater Cafe.
Yes, thank you guys for sure.
With a stirrer.
Yeah, it's badass, Rob. It's great. You can do your Irish coffees with that too. Froth out those Irish coffees.
I will.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, Oba and Brock. This is something that's got to stretch out for a while. I think it's got to. You can't just. I can't imagine Brock just beating him and then going on being Brock and
no way,
and then
right?
dropping the whole thing. Like, come on, he's got somebody, another monster that's fucking super over credible. Push him to the moon.
Rob, somebody made the pitch to me too. I think my co-host Robert Karpolis. He said what they should do is have Oba beat Brock at WrestleMania. Next night on Raw, put the title on Obafemi. Just have him have a match with somebody like that and just ride that roller coaster that you're going to get with him, because he's super over Fendi right now. Like, I'd be up for that. I think it'd be fun stuff. Frankie Terrizzo, thank you for the $5. Maybe Rob has some insight or RVDology. If I knew everybody was going to get tattoos, I never would have got mine. And now I'm stuck with these stupid things.
Yeah, dude, that's one of those things where, like, can you do anything about it? I don't think so. I mean, get him covered up, get him made into other tattoos. Yeah, I think when you get a tattoo, like, you kind of have in mind it's a permanent decision, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I only got 3 on me, and they all mean something to me. And so I knew if I'm going to get this on my body for the rest of my life, I have to be comfortable with it. So
yeah, it's I think it is what it is. So find another way to stand out.
That's it. All right, some more super chats. I don't know what this is, Maddie. Maybe you can decipher this. Thoughts on Sadhguru? Do you know who Sadhguru is?
No, Sadhguru.
I don't know what that. Sorry, Maddie, if you can give a little bit more clarification to that. And I think he's asking about Only Wrestlers, but we know what the Only Wrestlers is about now.
You know what? We haven't talked about that.
Do you want to talk about it?
Absolutely. Like,
okay.
I gotta say, something that I noticed was, as hard as we tried to push that thing, talking about it every week, pushing it, we got these shows coming up, we're growing, we're getting more members, this and that. As much as we tried to promote that, as soon as things went south, like, nobody until now was even asked about it. So I don't know if nobody gives a fuck, or if they just didn't notice, or they're just starting to notice, or what. But yeah, that I'm not. Katie and I are no longer with the OWA. They seem to, at this point, be continuing to run shows, but it wasn't for us. Let me put it that way. Like, we did 3 shows, I believe, and then ended up a little short on. But it wasn't even about that, though. It was about not being on the same page at all. Like, things that I saw that OWA needed if it was going to grow, I really don't think they cared about and weren't going to do it. Didn't see any growth from show 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Moving forward, we talked about stuff that we were going to do that just wasn't done. And then of course, then I found out that I wasn't even getting paid what I was supposed to be getting paid. And so I just haven't talked about it, because it's not like Bobby Fulton, where he's one of the worst people that are in the business, and is out to con everybody till the day he dies. It's not like that, where I felt, like I got a message for everybody and for Bobby. It ain't like that. And it's, if they keep going, wish him well, whatever, no super hard feelings, but it just wasn't working out. And so thank you for asking. But, from this point on, don't look at OWA as if you're supporting me or Katie. Although it was my idea originally, run free with it. I don't think they plan on doing much except for running little indie shows so they can be on the road.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it seemed like such a cool concept, and like getting fans engaged into it. But yeah, to your point, like, after like you kind of left. It's just like, and that was funny because like they were coming to Pittsburgh, and I was like, oh, and I didn't know that you guys were done with it. I was like, hey, they're coming to Pittsburgh, and you're like, whatever. So
no. I think it's been since at least May of 25. So that's a long time ago. I think that was the last show that I was at, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Okay, yeah, you might be right then. Yeah,
somewhere around there anyway. But it's been that long, and it's sort of like it goes under, like people don't mention it or whatever. But yeah, happy to Van Dam fam. You guys know I want you guys to have the actual insight, and so y'all need to know that. And really like no hard feelings or anything like that. You feel me? I hope you do.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I want to add that if we can add that, but I don't know how because we got this now at the beginning. But at the beginning, after our music at the beginning, I kind of feel like it should end with enjoy.
Do you have that sound clip somewhere?
No, so it wouldn't be real.
It wouldn't be real.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just say it right now and I'll clip it up?
I told Katie, she said the same thing. You don't have that on. You don't have him doing it though. It's only you doing it.
It's only you doing it. But
that's true. Maybe he'll take me out for another porterhouse sometime.
Yeah, another porterhouse. Maddie adds this. How much did Dom enjoy seeing Marcus get yeeted by Oba? I enjoyed it. I really wanted Marcus to get F5 though by Brock Lesnar. That's what I really wanted to see. And so when Brock pulled that one guy in and gave him an F5, I was like, damn it, that should have been Marcus.
Where did Oba come from? Do you know his backstory?
So I think he's Nigerian originally, but he was he's been in NXT for a pretty long amount of time. But like, that guy has such a presence. Like his voice is really good, and like I think like how he handles himself on the microphone is really good. I mean, like he's a big time star moving forward. I'm pretty excited to see what they do with him. But yeah,
I thought like when everyone was talking about him, I thought he looked familiar, like he'd been around for a minute, but then I wasn't sure because it's like he's got the hype of like a new sensation or something. And I saw somewhere somebody, I don't think I read or listened to it. It might have just been a headline, but I saw something where somebody said that he had a strength advantage on Brock. That's why I asked where he came from, because I didn't know if he was like Mark Henry, like an Olympic weightlifter.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know his like backstory outside of wrestling.
Okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was something to that effect. Let me see here real quick. Oh, get this, Rob. He was a former shot putter. So there we go. Born in Lagos. Oh my God. He was born in 1998, Rob. Can you believe that? He's only 27.
Yeah. Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
Oh man, people want the RVDologies tonight here, Rob. First off, Tom V gives us 279 Canadian, and then he gives us another 279 Canadian. He says, "How do you trust your gut under pressure?" And it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Yeah.
How do you trust your gut under pressure?
That's a good question.
I'm trying to think of an example under pressure. You have to go with I look at it like gut is instinctive, and as I talked about last week, RVD is not an impulsive person. So even if I just have a moment to make a decision, like my gut will instinctively tell me what to do, but I still have to consider before I will commit. Have to. You have to consider the consequences. You know what I mean? Like, am I going to go left or right? Fuck. I think I want to go left. But then I have to imagine, okay, if I do go left and then I go down that way, I'm not going to be able to go that way at that point. Am I going to be okay with it? Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Like, even in a split second, I have to second guess everything. So I have instinct, throwing out there the idea, trying to run it by the administration to get it passed, but then I have to have common sense take a look at it real quick before they put the stamp on it and say, boom, this is the action to do. Have to. I mean, sometimes, someone's swinging at you, you have to just duck, and that's reflexive, and that's kind of like a different thing. But when it's like, when you got time to use your brain, and, like, man, I usually regret when I don't go with my gut. But I sure do feel a lot better when I second guess it, and then I get 2 layers of affirmation that it's the right thing to do. So I second guess everything. I'm not impulsive. I'm not a person that's spontaneous. People that just automatically like, boom, I bought a dog today. Are you going to take care of it? Oh, like that. Those people do not think about the consequences. That's by definition what an impulsive person is. They act without considering the consequences. I don't do that. So even when I trust my gut, and I do usually regret if I go against it, which is rare. But sometimes your gut is biased because you want it to tell you a certain thing. So you're kind of convincing yourself that your gut is saying something sometimes that it might not actually be, just because you're like, no, I think I should go with this choice. And you feel like it's your gut telling you that, but really you're already biased and you want that to be the right one. So you have to be able to really connect and listen and let your gut lead without thinking about it. And then as the second step, put the thought to it. Pass, go.
I like it. My huge issue, Rob, since I have OCD, I legitimately am I just doubting myself or am I questioning myself too much? And then it's like, is this my OCD coming into play or is this my gut? And so it adds another layer of like indecisiveness or what should I do in that moment? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's a disorder. But it's probably one that a lot of people can relate to,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have gotten myself worked up over that, just overthinking. I have been there. That's not where I'm normally at, and it was very stressful. And I started like thinking like, man, I needed to talk to pros because I would overthink everything so many times that I would second guess my first and strongest choice because I would question it to death until there's plenty of reason to doubt it, and I was like stuck in that for like a little while, just like a year ago, and it was just a lot of it had to do with things that were going on in my life that aren't normally there, that added extra challenges. Like I'm trying to remain my normal cool self, but then these issues aren't usually there. And so I'm having a hard time not having that change. But I don't want to change. I want to be back to balanced. And yeah, that's, it's a disorder and it's something you've been diagnosed. So maybe you'll always have it. Maybe there's meds. I'm a fan of meds. It's all brain chemistry. And a lot of people are helped a lot from meds. Not everyone's got a great experience with it, but that's as far as my view goes. I'm not one of those people that's like, no, nature made you a certain way. Fuck all of it. Fuck medicine. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, dude, if there's drugs out there they've invented that can extend your life and the quality of your life can improve, and shit like that, then hey, I'm all for it. Like, thank God for modern medicine. I like weed, but that doesn't mean I'm a hippie that that's like, man, fuck big pharma. If you just got to find the right roots and eat them. Just start eating roots. You'll find the right one.
No,
I believe in holistic medicine as well. And wish that we knew a lot more about it. But yeah. I'm for let's live like it's our only shot at life and live the way we want to live.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm all for meds too, and that's a lot of that stuff goes trial and error too, which is a frustrating thing. But it doesn't hurt to try it out and see what works for you, and obviously consult your physician or whatever.
Well, it can. Then you get over it. Try another one.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of birthdays, Seth. He says, "Smoke them if you got them." Thank you, Seth, for the $20. Happy birthday to you, man. Too belated
birthday. Venice Dub Club.
Yeah, Venice Dub Club. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to check him out on Spotify. Venus Beach Dub Club. A Little Higher is the name of our theme song on the show. So be sure to check it out. Rob, before I forget, I think you retweeted this earlier last week, but it was something Shane Douglas posted or commented on, and it was about noting about Kamala passing away. And like how he kind of passed away, he lost his legs, and then his house was not taken care of and stuff like that. And he was like, the business should take care of those wrestlers and aspects like that. Do you remember sharing that out and stuff like that? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I wanted to get maybe your take on that, whatever, but if you had any other thoughts on that.
Man, in a perfect world, I guess the legends would be taken care of. As an independent contractor, I understand that it's up to us to put money away. It's up to us to get health insurance if we want it. It's up to us to invest in a retirement fund. And I get that's different than being an employee where part of your paycheck is taken from you and money is taken out and you get what you get, and then that's waiting for you when and if you make it to retirement age. Like I like being an independent contractor. I do get where if WWE is making billions of dollars, it seems like they could have a fund for that. It brings up a lot of questions, I think. Questions that could be worked out, I'm sure, but ones that I'll share, like where do you draw the line? If Kamala gets a pension fund, does Steve Lombardi, does Joe Merito, some of the jobbers that traveled with them? We're like, where do you draw the line? Is it something, is it something everybody, is it the AEW wrestlers get retirement funds then? And if so, okay, what about ROH? What about MLW? What about the Japan? Is it something where we actually want to sanction pro wrestling as a legitimate sporting entity that could be covered by the same basis, even though one of them is worth 20 grand and one is worth fucking billions of dollars? I don't know. I always wonder the same thing about the union obligations that people always want to put on WWE. They say they want to put it on wrestling, but I think they just mean WWE. Not all the wrestling organizations are full-time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you draw the lines. I wonder if some people, think about all that. But, that'd be great. That would be great in a perfect world, especially, it's making like a lot of money. And if money could be put towards something, but I don't know how many pieces you slice that pie up into over the years. If it's something automatic when you get a job with WWE, like an employee, is it something when you sign the contract that that you're building towards a pension? I don't know. It's our responsibility as independent contractors to take care of ourselves. I know a lot of wrestlers are like kids and aren't able to even take care of themselves. Like I said, their wives pack some of their suitcases for them and shit, pack all their meds for them, send them on the road. Then they're out there banging broads and doing drugs that their wife doesn't even know they do. That's way less now with the generation of people now, younger guys, professional, the business, more corporate. But that's part of it. That's what I came up in, and those are the rest. Those are my peers. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that would now need the funding because now they're old and broken up, and like Shane said, their bills far out exceed their possessions, and and their maybe they're worth definitely what they got. Are they worth more because they're legends? Because they were all a big part of our childhood, and we want to see them living happily ever after. Capitalism, the administration cuts themselves a pretty damn good deal, way better than the talent gets, yeah. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I think most wrestlers should plan on not having a very long career because I think statistically, most wrestlers have a very short career, 6 years maybe or less.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I don't see it. I'm just so used to seeing people so prominently on television for such a long time.
Most wrestlers aren't even on television, So if it's something something you're pursuing and you want to be a wrestler, you want to see where it can take you. Boom, you know what? Go for it. Good luck, and kind of prepare for it as if you're going to get in and get out. In as many ways as you can, and then if it lasts a while, then boom, you're way ahead of the game.
Way ahead of the game, yeah, absolutely too. I think too, it's like like W makes so much money. It'd be great if they did set something aside when wrestlers maybe in need something, and then they can help. Like, oh, here's the WWE fun pool or whatever you call it and stuff. And people
would it be like Cauliflower Alley Club where there's
that's kind of what I was thinking is like, or maybe that'd be great if WWE collaborated with Cauliflower Alley Club and then they kind of dipped in and helped them out with the funds and stuff like that. That would be a really cool collaboration, I think.
So it wouldn't necessarily be for everybody. It would be for who needs it.
Who needs it, I think would be a good way to do it, And like, so if somebody like Kamala falls on hard times or an Abdullah the Butcher who's like, dealing with issues and stuff like that, hey, let's help them out. And WWE's working through Cauliflower Alley to get this stuff done. I think that would be an awesome way to do it and stuff. And
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Did Abdullah the Butcher ever wrestle for WWE?
I don't think he did. Maybe
but you want WWE to pay his bills now. I mean, I'm just saying for conversation.
I'll say this though. I think that WWE is the representative of pro wrestling in so many ways. They have the video libraries of all the history of certain promotions and stuff like that. So they are the ambassador of pro wrestling that we're all familiar with. So I do think the onus is on them in a lot of ways to maybe give back to the wrestlers that weren't even in the business in WWE under the umbrella.
Damn good point.
Nice. They'll only have a couple more super chats and then we'll close on out. I did want to get your perspective on that because I thought that was a really neat topic one. And Shane Douglas does awesome work on his show. I love even listening to some of his clips that he does. So if you guys get an opportunity to check that out. Maddie gave some clarity of who that Sadria guy was, Sadguru guy. Let me see if I can pull up the
Sad Guru.
Sad Guru. Sad Guru is that Indian guru on YouTube. He's R. Frankie, he says. So there we go. All right. Oh, Frankie. I think he meant R. Frankie Teresa, who always gives perspective and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
No, I'm not either. I'll have to check them out. And then this is our final super chat here, Rob. A wrestling historian. Thanks for the Canadian $2, eh? He says, would you wrestle Gunther? Thanks in advance. Gunther.
I think that yes, and I think that would be a great opportunity if I had the invite. Sounds like a pretty damn good payday, and of course, after the match, WWE would be like, "Damn, RVD looks so fucking good. Like, we got to come up with some other plans for him now." And then they want to throw all kinds of money my way. And yeah, I think that Gunther would bring a stiffness out of me just from what I've seen, like with his chops and stuff like that. Maybe in a way that like Bob Holly did, but then it was like I had my Superman outfit because I was ECW RVD, like right now, just because it's been so long since I've wrestled, when I get in the ring now, I got my Superman outfit on just because I'm RVD, and it wasn't like having two different identities like it felt like before. Now it's like haven't wrestled in a long time, and then boom, here I am in the ring. Everyone's there to see me, excited, and I'm feeling at my best. So I wouldn't need to be. It wouldn't need to be an ECW show because people always expect me to be ECW, WWE, whole effing show, Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, same guy, no matter where I'm at now, and that's mighty understandable that you would expect that. So, but yeah, that's a long answer to say, fuck yeah, man, let's do it, man. Pass my number along.
Let's do it to it. You and Gunther would have a great match. Here's the question I got to ask you then too, Rob. Would you put your career on the line against Gunther? He's retired AJ Styles. He's retired John Cena. He's retired Goldberg. Would you put your career on the line against Gunther?
Oh, man, it would have to be a really big payday.
Yeah. Real big.
If it was big enough, I'd be like, all right, fuck my career.
Fuck that.
I'll pick up another hobby. No worries.
I'll figure something out.
It might not be giving up that much anyway. Like, who knows what I got ahead of me. But I haven't had my last match, and the unknown always has value when you're optimistic.
That's it, right? The unknown's pretty cool when you're optimistic. I like that too. That's another RVDology quote. Oh man, I got to write that one down. All right.
I'm gonna start leaving with a quote for the week every time.
Yes.
That's gonna be a new character on this show.
Quote of the week. I like that too. Yeah. We'll have to do it. Did you want to do 5 recommendations, or we can do that next time?
Yeah, I don't have anything in mind.
That's okay. We'll get the 5 recommendations. Hey, I do have a recommendation though. Check out Happy Hippo if you see this. If you got it. Happy Hippo, Red Sumatra is what I got here. Boom, right here. That's the ones that's supposed to maybe calm you down or help you sleep a little bit if you need it. But they have other ones too, white and green. Those can kind of give you energy. I know when I take the gummies, I get a little bit more socially energy, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. But I also get more alert, and I like the gummies a lot, so I highly recommend the gummies. So check out Happy Hippo if you get the chance.
Yeah, they tend to bring down the anxieties a little and replace it with a little more comfortableness.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. So, be sure to check out Happy Hippo if you get the chance to. So they're a great sponsor. And Rob, that should do it. But yes, keep your eyes peeled for Rob in Las Vegas.
Are you coming to Steel City Con?
So that's in Monroeville, which is a little outside. I might try
That's
to.
where the Beaver Dome is.
Is that where the Beaver Dome is?
I'm
Okay.
Pretty sure. Not 100%,
So
but yeah, I think so.
let me see what I'm doing on April 12th because I'd have to take an Uber to get out there, but I'd possibly try.
Anyway, yeah, April 12th, Steel City Con, RVD. Yep, it's been several years since I've done the Steel City Con, so looking forward to it.
Good crowd too. You get a great crowd over there too. They pack it with celebrities too. And you guys got some good ones. I know Jake the Snake's going to be there too.
Cool.
There's some other wrestlers too that you can check out. But check out RVD. He gives you all his time.
Pittsburgh's always special for me to visit because that's where Grandma and Grandpa Zakowski lived. That's right. FYI, my dad grew up in Pittsburgh, so as a little kid, we had lots of trips. Several times a year, we take a drive from Michigan to Pittsburgh, and I'd go to Kennywood Amusement Park, and I was scared as a little kid walking in the mouth of the whale at Noah's Ark. It was all dark, and things would jump out. Yeah, and I remember the Pittsburgh Zoo. I remember my brother holding me like over the shark tank, scaring the shit out of me, asshole. And the wave pool. I don't know if that's still there. But,
no, at the zoo.
No, it was somewhere else. But it was somewhere in town when my grandpa was still alive. We'd go to the wave pool when I was a little kid, and also the Dale Carnegie Museum with the dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's pretty neat there.
I used to love that when I was a little kid. Yeah.
Yes. I went to the Pittsburgh Zoo with Marcus the one time, and we saw a bear jacking off. He was just stroking. He was stroking.
Did you pep him?
Huh? Yeah, I did. Yep.
Yeah. So when I come in for Steel City Con, I want to go to all those places. So, we'll just throw it on your Uber.
Throw it on my Uber. Yes. So yeah, we'll have to make some plans. So sweet.
And then boom, right into fucking WrestleMania week.
Into WrestleMania.
I guess we'll probably get a show in before then, though. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
we could. Yeah, definitely we could do that. So yes. So thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, whether you're on RVD's YouTube channel or RVDTV.com. Support both channels out there and get the word out about this show. But we enjoy all our audience tuning in. What a great crowd we have, and appreciate everybody for chiming on in and giving their thoughts. So yes, we'll see you next time here on One of a Kind.
Major boy, police. See you in Vegas a lot. I am blind. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
I thought you were saying anyway, yeah, all week, fucking next week, but we'll do a show
probably Monday.
Hey, I told Dom I want to start using the chat room asking you guys questions. Do you give a fuck when we do our show, like Thursdays or Mondays or Wednesdays or whatever? Because
yes, let us know. We'll do I'll do a poll on the social accounts asking people what they think, and then we can get a gauge that way. But yeah, let us know. We got some. Rob and I were texting earlier today about some cool ideas that we could maybe implement to move forward once we get things cooking a little bit here. So yes, give us your thoughts on that stuff. If you want a day change or you think a better day works or a better time works for you guys, Rob is up for.
Doesn't mean we'll do it. We just want to know what you think. So.
We just want your insight, everybody. Your thoughts, everybody. We value your opinions for sure on here. So
cool.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Boom. Got you, Sterling. Yes. All right, cool, man. See you guys next week.
See you next time here on One of a Kind with RVD. Peace out, host. See you next time.